In a quiet neighborhood outside of Austin, Texas, Cole sat in the driver's seat of his truck, staring at the dashboard long after she'd gone inside. He thought things were going well. They'd laughed over dinner, shared stories under porch lights, but when he leaned in, she turned away. Not harshly, not cruelly, just uninterested. What Cole didn't understand, what most men don't, is that she wasn't rejecting sex. She was rejecting him, or rather, the version of him that showed up uncertain, seeking approval. And that subtle difference, that's everything. Because female desire doesn't bloom from permission, it ignites from presence. 1. The principle, female desire isn't requested, it's provoked. A woman in New Orleans once told me over a glass of Pinot Noir, "I don't want to be asked, I want to be felt." Back then, I thought she meant raw passion, physical, urgent. But now I know better. She was talking about something deeper, quieter. She meant energy, a man's essence. That grounded, steady force that doesn't ask for validation, it simply is. The men who move her aren't the ones who ask, "What do you need?" every second. They're the ones who already know what they bring. A man who carries himself with masculine clarity. He's not deciphering her moods like a puzzle. He's living in his direction, calmly, and that steadiness creates a gravitational pull. Women don't fall for indecision. They feel safe in certainty. Not control, clarity. A man who knows his value doesn't need to overshare, over-explain, or overcompensate. His very presence speaks. That's where Stoicism enters. It's not emotional suppression, it's emotional sovereignty. The ability to feel without being ruled by it. And in a world where many men flinch at silence, crumble at rejection, or seek constant reassurance, the man who can hold his space, who isn't moved by external chaos, becomes rare. Magnetic. He doesn't push. He doesn't plead. He doesn't chase. He provokes. Because female desire doesn't bloom under pressure. It opens in response to presence. Quiet, steady, unapologetic presence. 2. What most men miss. The decisions already made. In Phoenix, Arizona, there's a middle school teacher named Marcus. Thoughtful, gentle, the kind of man your mother would praise for his manners. He brought flowers, made dinner reservations at quiet, romantic places, sent kind, attentive texts that always ended with, "No rush, just thinking of you." He went on 3 dates with 3 different women. Each time he did everything right. And each time, nothing stuck. They said, "You're such a great guy," and drifted away. Here's what Marcus and so many men don't understand. Attraction isn't built through politeness alone. It's not a marathon of good behavior. It's a moment, a flicker, a spark that tells her, there's something here. And that spark, it shows up early, within the first few minutes, sometimes seconds, before the appetizers arrive, before the compliments, before you even know her favorite book. Everything after that is just confirmation, or quiet disappointment. The man she remembers isn't the one who waits for permission to be bold. It's the one who leans in without hesitation, the one who smiles like he knows who he is, the one who can hold silence without scrambling to fill it. Women feel energy before logic. They don't need 10 dinners to know if they're drawn to you. They need presence, depth, a calm kind of certainty. So if you're waiting for the right moment to lead, to show up fully, to express desire, know this: the moment already happened. She just hasn't told you what she decided. 3. 6 pillars of female desire, reimagined. Desire isn't random. It follows patterns, silent, emotional, often invisible to the eye, but undeniable to the body. These 6 truths aren't just strategies, they're signals, deep, biological cues that awaken something in her if you learn how to speak the language. 1. She doesn't want sex with a man who doesn't stand strong in himself. If your self-worth depends on her response, you've already lost her. Confidence isn't loud, it's calm. A man rooted in his own value doesn't flinch when things go quiet. 2. Stop seeking permission, lead or fade. You don't ask the wind for direction, you follow its current or you lose it. Women don't crave control, they crave trust in a man who knows how to move. 3. Her desire isn't logical, it's emotional, silent, cellular. She might say she wants stability, but fall for the man who gives her butterflies. Why? Because logic is slow, but chemistry, instant. 4. Your body tells your truth before your mouth ever tries. Tense shoulders, wandering eyes, rushed speech. She sees it before you speak. Presence isn't performed, it's embodied. 5. If you don't react, you become the mystery. She knows how most men respond. But when you pause instead of pursue, smile instead of chase, she leans in. Because now she's wondering. 6. Let her feel it's her choice, and she'll chase it harder. When she feels free to want you, not pressured, not persuaded, that's when desire blooms. And that kind of connection, she won't forget. 4. Pillar 1. She doesn't want the weak. In the rainy corners of Portland, Oregon, Ethan found himself entangled in what people now call a situationship. He was attentive, always there when she needed him. Sent her playlists, walked her dog, listened to her vent at 2 a.m., brought her takeout on bad days. She called him sweet. She said, "You're such a good guy." And then she started seeing someone else. That other man wasn't rude, he wasn't arrogant, but he didn't orbit around her either. He stood firm, spoke less, watched more, and when he moved with intention. The truth is hard to swallow. Women don't reject kindness, they reject the energy behind it. If your kindness is laced with fear, with hidden hope that she'll finally see you, it becomes a transaction, and she feels that. Real attraction doesn't bloom in desperation, it grows in strength. Women aren't drawn to dominance in the loud, controlling sense. What they crave is direction, emotional weight, a man who doesn't fold under tension, who knows what he wants without needing constant reassurance. Confidence isn't about swagger or speeches, it's about stillness. A man who is deeply rooted in himself doesn't need to announce his worth. He walks into a room and the room adjusts. That's the man she remembers, not because he begged, but because he never had to. 5. Pillar 2. Stop asking, lead or lose. Picture this. A Brooklyn loft bathed in amber light, the windows cracked just enough to let in the hum of the city. She's on the couch beside you, legs tucked, eyes playful, her laugh still lingering in the air. There's a pause, not awkward, but electric. And then you break it with 5 words that ruin everything. "Can I kiss you now?" The moment shatters like glass. Not because you said something offensive, not because she didn't want it, but because your words carried hesitation, and hesitation kills desire. You weren't leading, you were asking for validation. Men often confuse consent with caution. They think seeking constant verbal green lights makes them respectful. But what women crave isn't a script, it's certainty. A man who can read the energy in a room, feel the warmth in her body language, and move with it, not against it. Leadership isn't about control, it's about direction. It's the quiet confidence of a man who trusts himself enough to act without needing applause or permission. If she's not ready, she'll let you know. But most of the time, what she's really waiting for is for you to stop waiting. The man who leads with grace doesn't bulldoze. He doesn't second guess. He simply moves with clarity, present, grounded, steady. And in that steadiness, she feels something rare. Safety, tension, curiosity. That's not aggression. That's attraction. 6. Pillar 3. Desire is silent, not logical. In a quiet therapy room in Savannah, Georgia, a woman sat on the edge of the couch, wringing her hands. "I don't understand myself," she said. "I keep saying I want someone dependable, gentle, stable, emotionally available. But the man I can't stop thinking about, he barely said a word to me." She'd met him at a coffee shop. He didn't use any clever lines. He didn't compliment her outfit. He just looked, calm, present, steady. His gaze didn't flinch. His presence lingered even after he walked away. He said almost nothing, and yet she felt everything. Because desire doesn't live in the brain, it lives in the body. What we claim to want, on paper, in checklists, in late-night journal entries, often has little to do with what stirs our core. A woman might say she wants safe, but dream of danger. She might crave tenderness, yet ache for the man who holds tension without explanation. Seduction doesn't follow formulas. You can't logic your way into her heart. You can't earn passion with a resume of good deeds. Attraction isn't rational. It's a quiet storm brewing just beneath her skin. So when she tells you, "You're everything I'm looking for," but still pulls away, don't get angry. Get real. You weren't wrong. You just weren't felt. Desire whispers. It doesn't explain. And if you're not still enough to hear it, you'll miss it every time. 7. Pillar 4. Sexual energy. Words. In a smoky lounge on the north side of Chicago, Ray played the saxophone like it was an extension of his breath. He rarely spoke to the audience. He didn't smile for attention. But when he walked off stage, women noticed, not because of fame or height or polished charm. They noticed because Ray didn't hide himself. He moved like a man fully at ease in his body, aware of his desire but not ruled by it. He didn't leer, didn't push, didn't perform. He simply carried his energy like cologne, subtle but undeniable. That's the kind of sexual presence that speaks louder than flirtation. Many men confuse sexual energy with performance, thinking it's about dominance or swagger or slick talk. But true sexual energy has nothing to prove. It's not about taking, it's about being fully aligned with your own wants, your own power, your own stillness. When your desire comes from clarity, not craving, it draws her in. But when it comes from emptiness, neediness, or the desperate hope to be chosen, she feels that too. And she pulls away, because no woman wants to be the one filling your void. You don't need perfect lines, you need presence. You don't have to say, "I want you." She'll feel it in how you look at her. The truth is, she doesn't fall for your words. She falls for what your silence says, when it's steady, when it's rooted, when it's real. 8. Pillar 5. Don't react. Stay centered. In Los Angeles, the city of constant signals, likes, stories, emojis, she posts something vague, a lyric, a half-smile selfie, a sunset with no caption. Most men would take the bait, respond, reach, try to decode what it means. But you don't. Not because you're cold, but because you're centered. She texts you at 11:47 p.m. A "hey" after days of silence. You don't rush to reply. You wait until morning, then respond, steady, kind, unbothered. She cancels plans. You nod. No problem. Let's try another time. And then you go about your life. Work, gym, dinner with friends. You don't spiral. You don't sulk. You don't chase. And that right there is when she starts to notice. Because in a world full of men reacting to her every move, measuring her moods, clinging to her attention, you're the one who doesn't bend. And that stillness? It's powerful. It makes her wonder. It unsettles her comfort. Why isn't he affected? What does he have that lets him walk away so lightly? It's not detachment, it's direction. It's not apathy, it's anchored self-worth. The man who doesn't react to her every flicker isn't passive, he's focused. And that focus becomes rare, radiant, and irresistible. Because the truth is, the less you orbit around her, the more she starts to wonder what planet you live on and how she can be part of it. 9. Pillar. 6. Make her suggest it first. In a quiet Denver apartment, the night hung thick with the kind of silence that isn't empty. It's electric. Two people sat close on a worn leather couch, the light low, a half-finished bottle of red between them. He didn't talk to fill the space. He didn't inch closer with calculated moves. He just was, still, steady, completely at ease. When his hand brushed hers, it wasn't accidental, and it wasn't a plea. It was presence, calm, unhurried, and rooted. She leaned in, curious. "Are you always this calm?" That was her opening, her way of moving first. Because here's the truth, most men never learn. A woman's desire is strongest when she feels free to choose. Not coerced, not rushed, not led down a path with baited lines and obvious intentions. The men she remembers don't pressure her, they provoke her curiosity. They create an emotional climate, warm, inviting, slow-burning. When you make her feel safe yet stirred, grounded yet alive, she begins to initiate. Not always with direct words, but with gestures, questions, shifts in tone, a lingering glance, a soft, teasing comment. That's her way of crossing the line. And that kind of invitation? It's far more powerful than anything you could script. Let her feel it's her idea. Let her step forward without fear of being judged or caught in expectation. When she believes it's her choice, that's when she truly wants it. Not because she had to, but because she couldn't not. 10. Closing reflection. Don't ask for sex. Inspire desire. If you have to ask for it, it was never truly there. Let that sink in, not to shame you, but to wake you. Because intimacy that is requested like a favor isn't passion. It's pity wearing politeness. Most men were never shown how to stand, truly stand, in their own gravity. They were taught to perform, to please, to wait for approval like schoolboys hoping for a gold star. But the man who knows his worth doesn't ask to be wanted. He becomes felt. He enters a room without announcement. He doesn't chase energy, he centers it. He speaks with presence, not persuasion. He doesn't try to impress her. He invites her to experience something steady, something rare. He's the pause in a world of noise, the grounding in a room full of trying too hards, the quiet flame that warms, not burns. And here's the truth most don't want to hear. Women don't remember the men who asked for chances. They remember the men who made them feel something without ever needing to beg. So no, you're not here to be liked. You're here to be real. Let your stillness speak louder than your sentences. Let your energy be the reason she leans in without knowing why. Because when a woman chooses you from desire, not duty, when she moves toward you because she feels, not thinks, you don't need to ask. She's already decided. And that kind of intimacy? You'll never have to repeat.